The darkness inside Blackwood Sanatorium was almost a physical entity, heavy, cold, and smelling of dust and despair. Liam, the documentary director with eyes hungry for a career-defining story, adjusted his camera light, slicing through the gloom. Beside him, Chloe, the group's historian, ran her fingers along the peeling wall, her face a mask of fascination and revulsion. Behind them, Ben, the tech expert, monitored audio levels, capturing the unnerving sound of silence. They were here to uncover the legend of Dr. Alistair Finch and his controversial cure for what he termed delusional escape belief disorder, a condition, he claimed, afflicted those who couldn't accept their designated place in life. His patients weren't mad in the traditional sense, they were dreamers, rebels, artists, and wanderers whom Finch believed needed to be anchored to reality. Blackwood was his anchor. "The place is surprisingly well preserved," Chloe whispered, her voice amplified in the cavernous hall. "Records say it was shut down in a hurry in '68 after an investigation into Finch's methods. They just locked the doors and walked away." "Leaving the stories to rot," Liam added, framing a shot of a row of room doors, each with a small barred window. "That's exactly why we're here, to give them a voice." They pushed deeper, past a ward where rusted metal bed frames stood like the skeletons of forgotten beasts. Ben stopped, pulling off his headphones. "Are you guys hearing that?" Liam and Chloe fell silent. A low, rhythmic humming seemed to vibrate up through the concrete floor. It was almost like a distant, slow heartbeat. "Probably some old pipes or the wind," Liam said, too eager to be deterred. "Let's keep moving. Finch's office should be at the end of this hall." The office was as Chloe predicted, untouched, layered in a shroud of dust. A large mahogany desk dominated the room, and behind it, shelves overflowed with leather-bound patient files. It was a goldmine. "This is it," Liam breathed. "The story is right here." They gathered around the desk as Chloe carefully opened the first file. The name on the cover was Patient 73, the Aviator. Finch's handwriting was precise, clinical. "Treatment, Stage 1, Environmental Conditioning," Chloe read aloud. "Patient demonstrates an obsession with open skies and flight. To combat this, we have begun confinement in windowless spaces. Exits have been subtly altered or blocked on a daily basis to reinforce the futility of spatial orientation. Escape must not only be impossible, but unthinkable." Ben shuddered. That's cruel. He was trapping people who just wanted to be free. They moved to the next file. Patient 91, the Musician. "Treatment, Stage 2, Reality Inversion," Chloe continued, her voice strained. "Patient clings to memories of concert halls and applause. We have introduced subliminal auditory stimuli, subtle dissonance, off-key notes, into her favorite music. Staff are instructed to recount conversations about events that never occurred, undermining her trust in her own memory. Reality must become a suggestion, not a constant." As she read, the humming Ben heard earlier seemed to grow a little louder, the rhythm a little faster. Liam, engrossed in the drama, waved for her to go on. The final file they picked up was thicker than the others. Patient 112, the Cartographer. "His delusion is the most stubborn," Chloe read, her voice now a shaky whisper. "He maps escape routes in his mind, on the walls, anywhere. He believes there is a world outside of Blackwood. He must be taken to Stage 3. She paused, swallowing hard. "What's Stage 3? Liam asked, his camera focused on her pale face. "Stage 3. Ego dissolution. The patient is placed in total isolation, deprived of all external stimuli. A cocktail of psychoactive agents is administered to induce a state of heightened suggestibility. The only voice he hears is my own, via a speaker, reaffirming the core truth. Blackwood is all there is. It always has been. It always will be. The notion of outside is the final delusion to be eradicated. A cure is achieved when the desire to escape is replaced by a passive acceptance of the here and now. A heavy silence fell over the room. The methodical cruelty was suffocating. It was Ben who broke it, his voice edged with a rising panic. "Guys, the door." They turned. The heavy oak door to the office, which they had left ajar, was now shut tight. Ben rushed to it, turning the brass knob. It didn't budge. But when Ben threw his shoulder against it, the door didn't even rattle. It was as if it were fused to the wall. "No, man, that's not it," Ben said, his breathing quickening. "I walked back down that hallway 10 minutes ago to check a sensor. I swear there was a fork in the hull that wasn't there when we came in. I thought I was imagining things." Chloe's eyes widened in horror. She looked down at the file in her hands. Environmental conditioning. Exits have been subtly altered. A crackle of static erupted from Liam's comms unit. "What is that?" "It's my audio recording," Ben said, staring at his equipment with wild eyes. "It's playing back on a loop, but it's distorted. The things we said when we came in, they're out of order. It barely makes sense." "Reality inversion," Chloe whispered, backing away from the desk. The rhythmic humming was now unmistakable, a heartbeat pulsing in the very walls around them. And then a voice echoed, not from a specific point, but from everywhere at once. It was calm, ancient, and terrifyingly serene. The voice of a doctor addressing a patient. "The delusion is stubborn. You believe there is a world outside of Blackwood." Liam raised his camera, spinning wildly. "Who's there? Show yourself." "You believe you are documentary filmmakers, a fabricated memory to justify your desire to map and explore, an escape from the truth." They were trapped. The understanding hit them like an icy wave. They weren't discoverers. They were subjects. The experiment had never ended. The sanatorium was never abandoned. It just quieted, waiting for new patients. Stage 3. Ego dissolution, the voice intoned. A cure is achieved when the desire to escape is replaced by a passive acceptance. A faint, sweet-smelling mist began to seep from the vents in the ceiling. Ben started coughing, his eyes watering. Chloe retreated into a corner, muttering to herself. Liam, however, kept the camera raised, his terror warring with his instinct to document everything. "Keep rolling," he choked out, his voice hoarse. "They have to see." But who were they? The outside world that the voice insisted was a fantasy? The last footage from Liam's camera is shaky. It shows Ben sitting on the floor, tracing unseen patterns on the concrete. It shows Chloe facing the wall, unmoving. And finally, the camera swivels, catching Liam's own reflection in the dark glass screen of an old monitor. His eyes are vacant, his expression blank. He slowly lowers the camera. On Dr. Finch's desk, where the old files once lay, there are now 3 new folders. Their names are written on them: Liam, Chloe, and Ben. Below each name, a diagnosis: delusional escape belief disorder. And below that, a single word, stamped in bright red ink: cured. This story was a presentation from Shadow Tales.